The music for these old games crack me up.
Some 80s techno. Yeah, I love that. Dude, silence PP7, excellent.
And you gotta love the sounds on the silencer too. Watch him shoot his hat off. Oh, he doesn't even notice.
Dude,
He doesn't even
good
notice.
headshot. Oh, he's still moving, dude.
Yeah. He's like, I feel like I'm missing a hat.
Something happened. I don't know what.
Oh, he's dead. The KF7, that's funny. I guess they had to like change the names.
Of course, could use actual. What are they gonna do, sue us? Come on.
Oh yeah,
they're commies, dude. Okay, all right. As the first two guys get shot in the bathroom stall,
Yeah.
let's not hide in the stalls anymore. Is that AK?
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Okay, sorry.
Let's see, maybe I should still be stealthy.
Check your watch.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay, the stealth is over.
That's right. Dude, that's right. Shoot out with him, bro. Oh, hell yeah.
All the video games just stand out in the open.
That's right. Oh, yeah. The my hides. That's right.
They line up for you.
That's right. Everybody waits their turn.
Yeah. Just like a Steven Seagal movie.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of security is this, too? Oh. What? Oh, yeah, I gotta have some kind of key card thing. That guy didn't hear all that shooting?
All the boys laying around.
Yeah. Must be indoor target practice today. Look at that computer, too. What is that?
Oh, my God. Oh.
I like that little rolling move we just did there.
Dude. Oh. He's polite enough to give you time to reload. Thank you. Very courteous.
What the Caesar?
Oh my God.
Oh, I forgot we were doing a radio show. Maybe I should.
Good shooting.
Oh yeah, thanks. Turn this off. All right. That was pretty fun. Yeah, I was playing a little GoldenEye there, and forgot that we were doing a radio show. I got distracted, and you might want to. Okay, yeah, that should be good.
Yes, that was some great 1983 technology too.
Yeah, that's right.
Those block figures, they were great.
You might want to bring the mic just a little closer to you.
Okay.
Again.
Scoot closer. How about
Yeah,
that?
there you go. Let me I'll turn it up a little bit. Okay.
Shout out to the old chess set you see in the 30s movies. It's a harness that goes over your head. It sits. The mic is like right here.
Yeah. That's right. Oh, I need like the headsets. That's what I need to get. But yeah. So, anyways, that wasn't as random as you guys probably thought. One of the things about video games that's really exciting, especially video games like that, like GoldenEye was the shooting game that I grew up on, and maybe some of you guys out there listening maybe also played it too, and you might have recognized some of the music from that.
A lot of techno. There's a lot of techno in that game. Yeah,
that's right. But video games have actually done, I think, a lot more for the Second Amendment cause than people will admit. and it seems it seems like it would be the opposite, because it's like, because of the nature of it, and they're so unrealistic and corny and all this kind of stuff. But the thing that it does is, whenever first person shooters came out like that, which GoldenEye wasn't the first, but it was one of the early really really popular ones.
Yeah.
It gets people interested in guns.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that first person shooters do that over some of the other games that had guns is because just the way the gun is kind of the focus of the game, because you don't really see your character.
Yeah. You lose perspective. It's just the gun. You're right. It's about the gun. It's not about you.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're not all warm and cozy about shooting down animated characters.
Yeah.
It's just the guns. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. It's the gun.
Yeah, exactly. It's this gun, like just floating out there with some imaginary hand.
The gun's in control. Yeah.
That's right. And so you get kind of excited about the different guns that are in the game and stuff like that.
Or just get familiar. Or at least get familiar with the different kinds of weapons out there. Stuff that you wouldn't think about normally. Yeah,
exactly. And the very natural progression. And now I didn't have this because I was into guns before I ever played video games, because I grew up around them. But I can very, very easily see, and I experienced this also with classmates and things when I was growing up. But very easily I can see the natural progression of you playing these games. You start thinking, what would be even more awesome than this would be the real thing, guns in real life. Not like people want to think that video games make kids violent, and they're like, oh yeah, I want to go, shoot up a bunch of people. No, it's just a game. It's fun. Kids have always simulated some form of combat, boys especially. Like always, that's just in our blood, kind of.
No, video games don't cause you to go out and shoot up them all. No, craziness, insanity causes you to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a video game.
Yeah, crazy people playing video games. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's so easy to blame video games because so many people play them.
Don't forget rock music now.
Oh, that's right, rock and roll music.
Rock and roll, by God.
Yeah, fast music, man. It'll get you. But it's just such a natural progression, though, of being interested in real guns after playing video games. Yep. So many people, especially one reason that World War II guns are so popular was because first-person shooters, based off of World War II, was
Call of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Duty, the early ones, and there was like the Medal of Honor games.
Medal of Honor.
Some of those, which I don't think anybody gets those anymore, but they were really big at first, and those have been hugely popular. There haven't been many that came out lately, but
not with the World War II versions. Everybody's all about modern warfare now. If it ain't about ARs, it don't matter. Hey, come on.
Which I'm not as interested in those games. Like all the futuristic ones now that are coming out and stuff.
Yeah, no aliens for me. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
shooting non-existent humans is just fine. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and there was something cool about those World War II games because it was like, it was the closest you could get to kind of trying to imagine what it might have been like to run around and shoot Nazis.
Which is never enough of that, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
And no offense to all our Nazi listeners, we don't mean that.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't mean anything by that. Okay. But there'll be some kind of connection with that history, with that the heritage,
right.
Be some kind of connection with it, because that was it. That was World War II was the last war that was in black and white.
Yep.
We're good, they're not. Let's go get them. Good cause, all that. So
right.
Yeah, we're playing some of these video games. You got a feel for that,
right? And literally, it was one of the last wars that was in black and white because if you look at the footage from it, there's some color World War II footage. Actually, there's a great series that I think History Channel put out called World War II in Color.
Color of War. Yeah, World War II in Color or Color of War.
Yeah, which amazing. But most of the footage we're used to seeing, the pictures and stuff, it's black and white. And even the color, it's like, it's pretty grainy. So like these video games, especially the more realistic ones, it gives you an opportunity to like see like what it might have looked like. For some of them, and
a feel for it. God forbid, we'll never know what it was really like to be there, but by God, you get a feel of it. By God.
Yeah, exactly, and that's really cool. It's just a neat thing. And
if you get knocked off, you can always hit replay.
Yeah, exactly. You respawn.
That's right. Even better.
Yeah, exactly. Except you don't respawn in the same place a lot of times in these games, so it is kind of like dying in real life. It's equally as inconvenient.
That's right. You come back, but not the same place.
Yeah.
What a bore. What a pain.
Yeah. There's real risk involved there. That's right. But back to what I was saying, that the natural progression is to be interested in the real guns, the real thing. Mm-hmm. I've known lots of people that I grew up with that they were interested in guns. Like they knew what an M1 Garand was, or an M1 carbine was, or a Thompson, or some of these guns. Of course, a lot of people knew the Thompson because it's been iconic in so many movies.
Since 1925.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But guns like the M1 Garand, those different guns, they weren't really that. Unless you're a gun nut or you grew up during that time or something, mm-hmm. most people weren't really that interested in them. But a younger generation really got interested in guns like that because of video games.
Don't forget about the German version, the German weapons either.
Exactly.
The K98, MP5,
the MP40,
MP5. Sorry, well, the MP5 is a German gun.
Oh yeah, that's
right.
Yes,
it is. I was only about 20 years off, but
that's right.
But MG42, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Again, so interest went for both sides, American, British, and German,
and the Russian guns too.
Oh yeah.
There was one of the. I want to say it was one of the early Call of Duty games. There was this big, there was just one of these parts of it where it was you were like a Russian or something.
Firing at Mosin Nagant.
Yeah, and he had the Mosin and the, what's that one? The PPSH or whatever.
PPSH 41, PPSH 41, better known as the Papa Shah.
Yeah.
That's a good Jeopardy question too, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and those things are insane how fast they shoot.
Like 600 rounds a minute or something.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
My God. Great weapon.
Yeah, neat guns.
It's a typical Soviet weapon. You couldn't do anything to it.
Yeah.
I mean, dirt, grime, mud, snow. Let's go. It'll work. It'll work.
Yeah. It's interesting I promise I'll get back to my point in a minute.
Yeah, what we're talking about again.
That's right. But, it's really interesting to look at the similarities between the different let's compare German guns and Russian guns. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting to look at the differences in those, because when it comes to Russian guns, they're always really simple, durable, easy to use, maintain, not a lot of complex parts usually.
Yeah.
Just really straightforward, very just practical, durable kind of guns. Mm-hmm. And then with the German guns, usually they're very detailed, very
engineering excellence.
Yeah, highly engineered, also durable and really well made. But it's because they put, you can tell, they put a lot of engineering and just craftsmanship, into them.
Russians and Germans had different attitudes as far as the use of weapons. The Russian Soviet attitude was they wanted your basic guy from a farm in the Ural Mountains to be able to pick this thing up and use it.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. The KISS mnemonic, which is keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
They believe in that. Germans, they believe that you got what you paid for.
Yeah.
Hey, it's got to be durable, but it needs to be well made. You get what you pay for it. And they turned out some great weapons.
Yeah, they really did.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. It's interesting. It really is they're both countries produce really neat weapons, but it's interesting that just the drastic difference in philosophy. When they made them and stuff.
Example: we're off target now. The STG-44 versus the AK. The STG-44 was not the grandfather of the AK.
Right.
Completely different weapon.
It was. See, with that, as far as the way it's designed, it's not the grandfather of the AK, but the way I look at it, it's the grandfather of the AK concept.
The assault weapon, the assault rifle, yeah.
Right. Let me backtrack a little bit and finish what I was saying about the video game.
What were we saying
and then we'll come back to that, because there's actually some interesting things I'll say about that. But basically, with the video game thing, though, there's several points I want to make about that, and I can't say this enough, but there's people out there who look down on people who got into guns from video games. And we can't do that. We cannot do that. Yeah, they're going to say things that are stupid. They're going to say, I don't keep up with the newer video games, but based on the James Bond, the GoldenEye, if that was a hot game right now, you'd have people go on there on YouTube and they'd watch an AK video and be like, oh, look, it's the KF7 or whatever they called it in the game. And then they get dogpiled basically, and that turns people away. We want people to like guns. We want them to come over to the dark side of being gun friendly.
That's right.
I mean, we don't want to turn those people away, because that's been the greatest recruiting tool that we've ever had when it comes to the Second Amendment. It really has. Video games has been huge. it's just amazing how the opinions of guns have changed drastically since these games coming out.
It generated interest in people that never would have had an interest in the first place.
Exactly.
That never even thought about weapons.
Yeah.
Or their background, their heritage, their legacy. They
Yeah.
never would have, it just never would have come to mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Along with responsible gun use. Let me hammer that
Right,
more.
right.
Responsible gun use.
Right. That's the thing. If you do talk to one of those people, in a context where you're actually in position, not just in YouTube comments where you can actually like help them, teach them. Teach them about gun safety, of course, most important. But tell them what they're saying wrong and do it in a respectful way, and realize they are the reason that you get to have your guns.
By God.
In some ways, and the gun culture has changed so much for the positive. We have so many more people on our side now, and the way I look at it, it was a 1-2 punch. It was first-person shooter games, the internet.
That's right.
Both of those things happened almost perfectly. I mean, I couldn't have engineered it better myself. I mean, if I had total control over everything, that would have been the best way to get people, on our side with guns. One of them, at least. I mean, it worked out beautifully.
It made people think about the Second Amendment and your right to own a weapon legally.
Right.
And whether you choose to exercise that right or not, it's still your right. And
Right.
nobody should interfere with that.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly. So in a nutshell, that's a great thing. I absolutely love that. I love it that people have come from first-person shooter games into guns. That's unbelievable.
it's
And
a
that's
start.
Yeah, it's a great start. Yeah, exactly. But anyways, back to what we were talking about with the
STG versus AK.
Yeah.
That guy, Kalashnikov, I think he was wounded in the hospital. He was recovering in 1946. He was recovering after World War II.
Yeah.
And he designed it when he was in his sick bed. And he was I think he was a tanker, actually.
Was he?
And he needed he says we need a weapon that has a large capacity for firepower that can be hand carried.
Right.
And he came up with it. And the Russian army took it. They ran with it. And
Here it is still today, everywhere.
right. Kalashnikov, model 1947 is still out there.
Yeah.
Well, with the 74, and I think there's a 101 out there somewhere now.
Yeah. Actually, I looked at it. There's like a 102 and a 103.
Oh my God.
There's like a bunch of different variations of that.
Oh yeah. And you think that AK-47 was bad? These 101s and 102s are not to be screwed with.
And there's some other ones too. I forget what. There's one that I saw a YouTube video on. There's this guy. There's this guy that's like he's like a Russian competition shooter instructor or something like that. And there's some YouTube videos of him out there where he's like testing some different Russian firearms. And there's some new version of the AK that I saw him testing the other day that was pretty interesting. You can tell that they're getting to the point where they're like, okay, we need to update this thing a little bit.
Oh,
you know.
Which I think the Russian AK should be coming across pretty cheap considering the state of the ruble right now.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I don't know if that's too political for you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm tap dancing around that.
Yeah.
They should be pretty cheap. I think they'll take dollars, no problem.
Yeah, those Wasser 1063s, which is kind of the common, Romanian AKs. Man, those things ought to be like $200 now. And if those things dropped in price like that, I'd have like 10 of them.
I mean, why not?
I'd have a crate. I'd have a crate of them.
Just give me that box of them over there.
Yeah.
Great weapons, practical weapons, and
Yeah.
In the world we live in, unfortunately, we have to be prepared. And
Yeah.
That's all I advocated all these for as long as we've been doing this.
Right.
Is that readiness.
Right.
I'm not. I don't walk around with a bunch of weapons on my back. Hell no.
Reasonable preparedness and readiness. Yeah.
Exactly. And I don't think, in my experience, no one has a problem with that.
Right.
As long as you, again, behave responsibly and professionally.
Right.
Yes, no one will have a problem with you carrying.
Exactly. So you have to behave responsibly whether you have guns or not. There's lots of ways you can behave irresponsibly that will dramatically affect a lot of people's lives in a negative way.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
One thing too, back to like the assault rifle thing, I posted something on the Facebook, the Hickok and Son Facebook, about. I've been kind of racking my brain about this for a long time because one of the big things in gun culture, gun community, has been the term assault rifle. Of course, comes from. Wasn't it Hitler that came up with that designation of the storm rifle?
Yes,
called it that.
Stormgewehr, which is assault rifle.
Yeah, storm rifle, assault rifle.
Assault rifle, yeah.
Exactly. So but the media uses that term assault rifle when they talk about ARs and things.
As a negative, yeah.
And it ends up it has become a negative connotation, even though it does have historical significance. So that's much of debate. There's a small majority that they say, I don't care, I'm still going to call that type of rifle assault rifle, all these kinds of things. And I'm almost close to that because it kind of makes me mad sometimes how we let the media tell us what we can and can't call rifles, especially when it has a historical significance. It's not really that inaccurate of a term.
Or they determine what's politically correct or incorrect.
Right. But, I've thought about it a lot, and, there's a lot of names that people have used, like different types of names to call them and stuff like that. And what I've decided on, which to me makes the most sense, I'm going to kind of explain my reasons here, and that term is defensive rifle. And here's why. Because for a lot of years, in gun culture, when you refer to a shotgun that's not designed for hunting or trap shooting or whatever, you call it a defensive shotgun. If you walk into a gun shop and you say, I'm looking for a defensive shotgun, they're going to hand you Remington 870 with it's going to at least have a full magazine on it.
Yeah.
Short, it's going to have the minimum length barrel. It's going to have maybe some better sights. It's designed for like home defense.
Yeah.
When you say I'm looking for a defensive rifle, it's more of like what you might think of as like a combat ready kind of shotgun. So that term has been around for a pretty long time.
Yeah.
So if you think about it in terms of a rifle, it makes sense if you say defensive rifle. Well, you're not talking about something that's designed for really long range shooting.
Yeah.
You're not talking about something that you're going to be using for deer hunting. You're not talking about some kind of 22 target shooting rifle. You're talking about something that is somewhat the state of the art defensive rifle. Basically, it's going to have it's going to be a carbine of some kind. It's going to have a fairly short barrel, at least under 20 inches, at least, more than likely 16 or 18 or something like that.
Okay.
It's going to take a magazine that holds at least 30 or 40 rounds, or whatever, a big drum or whatever.
Yeah.
It's going to be something like that. And there really hasn't been a good name for that category of rifles like AKs and ARs and the VZ58. Even like SCARs and ACRs and all these different types of rifles like that are the basic design that was originally come up with and called the assault rifle. They basically are that same concept, but that term has a negative connotation. So to me, defensive rifle makes the most sense. You walk into a gun shop and you say, I'm looking for a defensive rifle. Even if they don't know that term, they're probably going to put two and two together and go, oh, okay, he's probably talking about an AR or something like that.
Okay. I would, good point. But if somebody else has a problem with assault rifle, it sounds like a personal problem to me.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm like, hey, dude, you got a problem with that name, go ahead. I'll take the AR or the AK.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an assault rifle. The old M2 carbine from Korea.
Yeah,
which is the fully automatic version of the M1 carbine. It's an assault rifle.
Technically, it would be. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. I mean, it does the job. You're looking for a weapon that does a specific job. You can call it whatever you want. I need a weapon that does this. What you got? What you got?
And there's not a lot of situations where I'm necessarily going to use that term. If I walk into a gun shop, if I'm looking for an AR, I'm going to say, oh, yeah, what kind of ARs you got? If I'm looking for an AK, I'm going to say, what kind of AKs you got?
Exactly.
But still, though, if you're someone who's new and you don't even know if you'd want an AK or an AR or any of that kind of stuff, and you need a term to call that variety of guns, to me, defensive rifle makes the most sense. And I totally agree with you. Assault rifle, it shouldn't matter. It absolutely shouldn't matter. I do get the negative connotation because assault rifle applies, that you're going to be assaulting with it,
Well,
which civilians don't do that,
Well, I think a Brown Bess musket from a 17 you're assaulting someone when you shoot them with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Assault rifle, one shot.
Yeah.
But
the intent, like I had some people on the Facebook, that was one thing they were debating me about, and they said, well, anything could be used for defense. That's true, but the thing is, it's not about, I'm not calling it a defensive rifle because that's how it's going to be used necessarily. I'm calling it a defensive rifle because that was the intent that it was built on.
Yeah.
That rifle, it was made for civilians. Civilians are only allowed to engage in defense. That's it. Civilians do not assault. They do not go on offense ever, unless they're killing a deer or something.
He was coming right at me.
Yeah, exactly. But civilians, defense, that's all we're concerned with.
Exactly.
We only attack people that first attack us, or they are a threat to us. So any rifle that hits the civilian market, if it's not designed for some type of purpose, like hunting, target shooting, all these different other ones, if it's designed for, let's say, combat, blanket term to apply to civilian and military situations, if it's designed for combat, then if a civilian owns it, it automatically becomes a defensive rifle. And if a soldier or a law enforcement or someone like that owns it, maybe law enforcement's tricky, but if a soldier owns it, a Marine, then it becomes an offensive rifle. But if a civilian owns that same rifle, whether it's full auto or not, doesn't matter. It is a defensive rifle, because that's all that a civilian should be interested in.
One thing I want people to keep in mind is that the word assault rifle.
Yeah.
Did you like that drama?
I did like that.
The assault rifle. What that is the media, TV, and media uses that as a way to get people's attention. It's good TV.
Yeah.
A guy went on a shooting spree with an assault rifle.
Emotional warfare.
Exactly. It sounds more scary than, this nutcase picked up a weapon and started shooting people.
Yeah.
No, saying assault rifle tends to scare people more. Which is what the news does. I'm not beating the media. No, yes, I am. The media buys and sells fear.
Oh, yeah.
And part of that buy and selling of fear is assault rifle, by God.
Right.
And come on. One rifle can be as dangerous as another. It doesn't matter, what the capacity is, how it was made or who made it.
Right.
So let's don't get. I think people need to keep perspective.
Right.
If somebody kills you, what's his name? Whitman, that tower in Texas,
Yeah,
66.
yep.
He used a bolt action rifle.
Yeah.
He dropped 27 people.
Yeah.
From like 400, 500, 600 yards. I mean,
yeah.
Okay. So
the point I always bring up is that some people in the media, they act like guns are the only way to kill a lot of people. Have you ever heard of these things? There's these things, and there's a lot of different materials that do this, but you put it together, and then you create this certain type of situation around it, maybe fire or something like that, and then it makes this huge explosion, and it's really dangerous, and it can damage a lot of people. Yeah. That's a thing that exists. I think people forget that.
So people, I urge all listeners and all people to keep perspective, and we got to remember that when this stuff. When things like this happen, and they are very tragic when they do, but the weapon is just a tool. People hurt other people.
Yeah, people are the problem.
Exactly. People are the problem. We're the issue. We are the issue, not the weapons. It's we are the issue.
Right. So. And I do think, there's some people out there that think you're being namby-pamby by worrying about the language and stuff. Here's the thing. Language is important. It really is. Yeah. It's important because, language by itself means nothing. But culture... everyone is indoctrinated with culture to some extent, some more than others. And some people who don't think for themselves and they're very indoctrinated with culture, when they hear the term assault rifle, it gives them, immediately they get an image in their head.
Wait, hold up, wait. There are people who don't think for themselves?
So I've heard. So I've heard, at least.
Wait, do you mean they're out there?
Yeah.
You mean people that wait for people on TV to tell them what to think and do? What?
I know, it sounds crazy. I know.
What's this, Russia? What the hell?
It's like Bigfoot. We hear that they exist. Which I'll quote someone in saying this, but did you know that Bigfoot is actually blurry? That's the problem. That's what I've heard, at least. A really wise man once said that. Not me. I didn't say that. But someone really smart once brought that to people's attention. That's the problem. Bigfoot is blurry.
That's right. You ever notice that these people who see him, they never can seem to get their camera focused.
Yeah,
it's always from a long way off. What the?
Yeah.
He's 8 foot tall. You can't get a picture of him? I mean, come on. Wait, I do. Okay, off subject again.
That's okay.
I saw this thing when I was a kid. I saw this movie, and this lady said she was up in the Northwest fishing for salmon. She had a 1892 lever action rifle, Winchester, right next to her. She's fishing to look out for bear. Her words, her statement, she turned around, there's Bigfoot standing there. 7 foot tall with a fish in his mouth. So she drew down on him, and her words was, his face looked so human, she couldn't shoot him. He's 8 foot tall and covered with hair with a fish in his mouth. Dude,
Yeah.
I think they would have gave you a pass for thinking he was a bear or something.
You mean to tell me if some random guy, not Bigfoot, is attacking you, and he's like huge, you're gonna say his face? He just looks so human. I just couldn't shoot him.
Okay. So, I don't know.
It's like okay, compared to a bear, maybe, but compared to another person, no, he looks scary as hell.
8 foot tall, covered with hair. You got me. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna open up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I was scared to death.
Yeah.
He was coming right at me.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The Bigfoot thing, or when it comes to like all the theories about animals that are just vastly different from anything else. Here's the thing. To me, it seems like when it comes to, I mean, I'm not a biologist, but it seems to me when it comes to life on this planet, it's doing one or two things. It's growing or dying. You know what I mean? It's they're either there's more of them or there's becoming less of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if there ever was a Bigfoot or a Loch Ness monster or anything like that, there would be a point where they were there, and then they were dwindling, and then they would just be gone. Yeah. It doesn't make sense that there would be this like just insanely small amount of them for like 100 years. That doesn't make sense.
I'll say this: there are even in America, like in the Northwest and out west, maybe not so much in the East and South, but there's still places in America that are so vast and still wilderness that I have to think that maybe a creature like this could survive out there and not be known. I don't know. Not for all these years, maybe, but it's possible. It's possible. So who knows? Yeah,
that's true. I mean,
but I can't believe anybody got a shot off at him yet.
Yeah, I know. It's because he's so blurry. That's what it is. They think something's wrong with their EOTech.
Okay. Okay. Again, beating this dead horse. You see that 1968 film with the guys ride the horse through the Northwest through these fallen trees. And he sees this big ape-like thing walking off away from him in the distance. Dude, that's one of the most famous ones from like '68. This guy, he swore on his deathbed. It was a legit film, and he's riding up in the Northwest on horseback. Looks off in the distance on the other side of the river is this big ape-like creature walking away from him at a strong pace. And the horse apparently got scared, and he was filming him as he's riding away.
Wait, is it that classic one where he's just kind of walking?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that. Okay,
dude. Okay, number one, I'm the guy with the gun. Why am I afraid?
Yeah.
I mean, he's 8 foot tall, covered with hair, but I got a 1911 45 caliber pistol or a rifle. So what am I afraid of?
Yeah,
dude. Okay, I'm sorry, but he swore on his deathbed that was the real thing, and I'm wondering what was he so afraid of? Shocking, yes. Just shocked, yes, but afraid, maybe not so much. Hey,
see, maybe Bigfoot is not really what we think. Maybe it's just a Wookiee.
That's what Lucas guy's idea.
Yeah, exactly. Star Wars is like predictive programming. They're like preparing us for the fact that like Wookiees are going to start, becoming. They're going to be around.
Why not? I mean, hey, Lucas was watching that same film and went, I got an idea.
Yeah.
Hey, honey, come here. Let me run this past you.
Oh, you ever seen that? There's this thing on the internet that is the connection between E.T. and Star Wars.
No.
You ever seen that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so if you remember the movie E.T., there's a point where the kid's like playing with the Star Wars toys or like showing them to him or something like that. He's like interested in them.
Yeah. And
then also there's a scene where when he dresses him up like a ghost, and they're like walking out into the street, there's a kid dressed up like Yoda. And whenever Yoda comes past him, E.T. starts walking over to him and starts trying to say like he recognizes Yoda. Yeah. So he like recognizes Yoda. And if you watch the newer Star Wars movies where it has the like the council thing, the really boring parts of them, what's got like the council and all the different stuff, because that's why you watch Star Wars, right? To watch. It's like C-SPAN in Star Wars.
That's right. Same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing. Yeah.
But there's a race of like one of the people. You can kind of see them on the background. They look just like E.T.
Yeah,
just like him.
Okay, they can't look too much like him because that's a lawsuit. That's a copyright infringement.
Oh yeah,
they can't look too much.
Yeah, unless Spielberg like let him do it or something.
Okay, he gave him a break.
Yeah. It's like cross promotion. Is what it was.
You know what? As long as the aliens were like Paul
Oh, yeah.
I have no problem. Come on down here, dude.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of that guy, Seth Rogen, let's don't make any jokes about North Korea because
Oh,
I don't want to be attacked. I don't know
Yeah,
about you.
that's right. I want to be able to release this radio show.
Apparently, what's his name? Kim Jong-un, whatever. His name
One of
is.
those, yeah, some
One of
variation
them.
of that.
He don't have a sense of humor.
Yeah,
Okay.
not at all.
Dude, relax, man. It's a movie.
Yeah,
Dude.
yeah. I'll talk to people that are that are kind of worried about that situation. This thing I always tell people, I was like, look, if they got it, we got a better version.
Yeah, thank you. I'm here to tell you. I'll tell you, we got the 2.0. They got the yeah.
Yeah, that's America, we've got our problems, but one thing I will say about America is somebody else has it. We've got a better version of it.
Yeah. Plus, it's North Korea, dude. I mean, I think nobody here has to worry about what Pyongyang is going to do to them. Relax. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's North Korea, man.
Yeah.
I know they kicked butt in that movie, that new remake of Red Dawn with, what's his name? What's his name? Thor.
Yeah. Which I have to say, I was really ready to like that movie, but I didn't really like the remake, the Red Dawn. I couldn't get into it. It lacked something.
It was more action packed. I'll give them that. But I think they showed the North Koreans being way too fierce.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are starving to death over there. Come on.
Yeah.
They're gonna get here, and then if they got here, they head right for Kroger's, dude.
That's the big suspension of disbelief about, especially a modern version of that movie. You mean to tell me they're going to get here without us knowing about it?
Yeah, thank you. And if the North Koreans did get over here, they head right for Kroger's, dude.
Yeah. The thing you got to remember too is our military is at a minimum, and this is a minimum 30 years technology ahead of what we know about.
Yeah.
At a minimum, probably a lot more than that actually.
Area 51, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's just based on fact. I mean, the stealth bomber, they started working on that thing like around World War II.
Hell yeah. I heard I went to a seminar once, some kind of BS the Army made us go to, and this guy told us, well, they haven't asked for a phaser yet.
Oh yeah.
So I'm waiting. He says not yet. So, but he didn't say they couldn't do it. He just said they haven't asked for one.
Yeah. I actually think that bullet technology is probably going to stay around for a pretty long time because it's quite a leap to get away from a projectile like that.
Yeah.
Because if you think about anything that's like the concept I think behind like phasers and some of those things, it's kind of like a molten like liquid that kind of shoots. Mm-hmm. The problem with that, how would that be accurate? Like how would you figure out a way to make that accurate? We don't
have the technology for it today, and I think that's good because we got guys who can't handle what we got now.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Would I like to have a weapon I can just set for stun? All of a sudden the whole room falls down. Great.
Yep.
But practical, no. Sorry, I think we got a few 100 years for that.
Yeah.
But there's some kid in the basement in D.C. making it right now. I'm sure.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm
probably.
Sure. 16-year-old, he's coming up with the plans for it right now.
Yeah. That's another thing too. It's kind of cool to think about it. I had some friends that say, the government's going to take over the internet and all this kind of stuff. Here's the thing: most of what the government is able to do with the internet comes from some guy living in his mom's basement. That's the ironic thing about it. So like the internet, the people have the power when it comes to the internet.
Yeah. Because
that's what's so funny is like if you're like a hacker or something, it's a really weird situation because one, you might go to jail for a really, really long time. Or the other possibility is you'll get a really awesome job.
That's right. Hey, dude, how'd you do that? Okay, need a job? Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're going to hack into the government, be really good at it and impress them.
All of a sudden, you're working for them.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with that. Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yep.
And there's a movie about that, too. Whatever. With the Thor guy again.
Oh, okay. What movie is that?
I can't think of the name. But,
okay.
Every time I go to a movie now, it hasn't come out yet. But every time I sit through that 30 minutes of trailers before you see what the actual movie was that you came to see.
Yeah.
That guy, the guy from Thor, which again, who I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
He's in that.
Yeah. He's a pretty good actor, actually. He is a good actor.
He's a pretty boy. Come on, long flowing hair. Come on.
Yeah, but he actually has some acting talent though.
Let's see a regular guy be Thor. Let's see the guy with the gut, male pattern baldness. All right, let's go.
Well, but you can't have a mystical being and it look like me.
You can't be a regular guy Thor.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man, I would go up there, but my knees are killing me. Come on.
I'm too tired to pick up that damn hammer today. Why couldn't I have had a smaller hammer?
Got a beard in his head.
Yeah, and why is the handle so short on this thing?
So you're right. Nobody wants to see that. No, I don't. You're right. I don't want to see me like the Equalizer with Denzel Washington. Have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't.
Pretty good remake. It's based off the '70s TV show. Of course, Denzel is this high-speed secret agent, former secret agent guy.
Seems like he's always something like that lately.
Yeah, cool. Got all this access to all this technology that we don't know exists.
Yeah.
No, you can't be a regular guy and be him. No. Yeah, I would save you, but I gotta work. I gotta be at work at 8:00.
Yeah.
Okay? So, yeah, I'm sorry, man. If you're here when I come back, I'll do something.
That's what you do at security, right? Like there's someone, some woman is being beat up by some guy. They're like, "Oh, sorry, shift is over."
Sorry, I wish I had started this about an hour earlier.
Yeah.
I'd be able to do something here, but I gotta go to my another job.
Yeah.
So Jesus.
That was always the worst. Back I was doing that work. I remember you'd be okay. It's about time to get. Nothing has happened for 3 hours.
That's right.
And it's about time to get off, and all of a sudden something happens.
Always at the end of the shift. Yeah, great. Never fails.
I swear they knew sometimes.
Of course they did. Them were the days, bro.
Yep. They knew what was up. They were pretty tricky out there. You guys don't know what we're talking about, but anyways.
That's all right. That's personal.
Yeah. It's not. Trust me, it's not as impressive as maybe it sounds. Okay. Let's see. Do I have anything on this list? Let's see. One thing I was going to talk about is I showed you last time. I showed you that rifle had the ARAC 21. It was the one that looks kind of like an AK.
Yeah.
Well, it's AK on the inside, but an AR on the outside, kind of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool gun. I'm kind of excited about it. The thing about it is, it has that gun. Kind of like the way I look at that gun is that gun is only as good as it is more reliable than an AR.
Yeah.
Because if it's not more reliable than an AR, then you don't really gain anything.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah. Why? It's heavier. It's different. It has different parts and stuff like that. I don't have any interest in it unless it's more reliable. The advantage of it is supposed to be, is you basically have everything that you love about an AK, but in an AR platform where it feels the same, kind of looks the same.
That's what you were brought up on.
Yeah, and you got the side charger, all that kind of stuff. So to deal with the extra weight and all the different parts, it's got to be more reliable.
Exactly.
So the other day I went shooting with a friend of mine. We went out into the woods and stuff, and I was like, let's do some testing on this thing. So, and at first what I did was there's it doesn't have a dust cover or anything, and the bolt is really flat. Mm-hmm. So it's not like it was kind of rounded and got little holes in it like on the AR. It's just flat, so it seals up, really well actually. Okay. When it's closed, of course. So what I did was I took mud and filled that gap with it. Mm-hmm. There's a gap between the receiver and the bolt. Filled that, and then there's a bunch of kind of vent holes up in the handguard. Put a bunch of mud in that. Just smeared a bunch of mud, pretty thick mud all over it, and shot about 15 rounds through it. No problem. No problem. It basically just knocked all the mud, most of the mud off. Mm-hmm. Which that's what you expect. And I need to do some more mud testing with the AR to kind of compare. I think an AR might have had more trouble with that. Maybe
it would. If it's any AR I'm familiar with, it's going to have trouble with mud.
Yeah, I think
you've got to keep it clean.
Yeah, I think it probably would have. But then I got a little too ambitious, and I took the magazine this time and stuck it in the mud bank. So basically, I had the magazine, and the magazine at the top was almost covered in mud. Mm-hmm. Basically, it had a kind of a thin layer of mud on top of it. Stuck it in the gun. Went to rack it in, and it didn't go all the way in the battery.
With the AR, right?
With the AR-AK.
Okay.
The ARAC. Mm-hmm. And it didn't go all the way in the battery. So I stripped the mag out, racked it a few times. Mm-hmm. Well, it didn't extract the round, and it just got more crammed into the chamber with all the mud in there. And I kept trying to run the bolt back and forth, trying to cram it in there, but it wouldn't go all the way in the battery because there was mud, kind of caked up in and around the chamber. And also the gun was hot. Yeah. So when the mud hit the chamber, it probably, got hard and all that kind of stuff.
Hard, yeah.
But that was really unfair, because really, even the best AK probably couldn't handle that. The magazine's covered in mud.
Well, according to the mythology of the AK, the myth of the AK, you could fill that thing up you could fill that weapon up with mud, it will fire no problem. You could do all that to the AK, let's go, it'll work.
Yeah.
I've heard that's true, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but,
I'd like to do. What I want to do is do some more testing. I'd like to take a regular standard AR, that gun, and an AK, and do some of the same things to it, and kind of see what kind of results I get. The one thing about the ARAC that it doesn't have that the AK has is the AK in the receiver. There's just so much room in there.
Mm-hmm.
The ARAC has the same kind of design, but it still has the little bit tighter tolerances, like how your standard AR has. So you're right. Maybe the AK could have handled it. It was pretty excessive, the amount of mud I had in there. I mean, the guns aren't superhuman, Well, or they aren't magical or anything.
AK is designed to handle that, though. I think, by all accounts, the AK is designed to handle that kind of mud, grime, dirt, dust. Plus, it fires a big, powerful round, which it blows out all that. Supposedly, it blows out all that debris that might be in there. So the AK is supposedly built for all that you put that AR through. I think this will be a trade-off. If you want a AR/AK hybrid, then you're going to give up something from each weapon. Yeah, probably accuracy. Yeah, plus you'll give up the accuracy. I have to think you'll give up some kind of accuracy.
Actually, it should. It's not supposed to give up any accuracy with the ARAC because the thing is it locks up kind of like an AR. Mm-hmm. Is the thing. Even though the way the bolt and everything, it's where it's a piston gun and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. It kind of it basically the thing that makes the AK unreliable is because partly in the way that it locks up and also in the way that it flexes the barrel and stuff like that. But this thing, let's see, I can't remember. I think it has a free floated barrel. I can't remember now, but even if that gun is not as reliable as an AK, but if it's quite a bit more reliable than an AR, it's probably still worth it. Yeah.
If it has the reliability that you're looking for, yes. Yeah. Again, the only problem with the AR is reliability. Right. If you got to take care of it. Very temperamental. You got to take care of it.
Yeah, and really they tend to be 100% reliable when they're clean.
Yes. It's just if you do your part, it will work every time. I'm here to tell you about that. It will work for you.
Yeah. Because I've never had a malfunction out of an AR when it was
properly maintained.
I could always put my finger on what it was that caused the malfunction every time. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just a mechanical thing.
You got to do your work. But again, supposedly, I've met people who swore by the AK, mostly Eastern European guys who swear by it. AK, Mother AK, which is what they call it. Yep. It will do whatever you need to do when you need it done. Yeah. So no matter what the weather's like, no matter how wet it is, muddy, grimy, I don't know. Yeah. Kind of like Glock guys.
Oh yeah. Yep. Glocks. I know you're not a big Glock guy, but they have a great reputation, and part of that is because they've been around so long. I think that in being fair, if let's say that the Springfield XD or maybe even the Springfield M&P, the other guns, the Glock counterparts, the polymer guns, if they were the first one that came out, they would probably have the same reputation.
Well, you're right. Glock was first. Yeah. So everybody else is considered as an also ran. They're catching up. But you know why I got a problem with Glocks. You know why?
You like the external safety.
Exactly. Thank you.
My thing with Glocks is I think there's guns out there that are as reliable, have better triggers, feel better. Yeah. I think there's lots of guns like that. But the thing about Glocks that I like, but the reason I prefer Glocks for carry over other handguns is the size. The streamlinedness, the fact that there's not a lot of big controls. Yeah. It's a very just carry friendly gun. That's kind of my thing with it. Okay. But man, 1911's awesome.
By God, preach. That's gospel, yes. 1911, by God.
And honestly, 1911, that style of gun, it's still a very viable, even concealed carry option because they're so thin. Yeah. 1911s, they do that really well.
And we talked about the 3.5 inch version. A little bit tricky, but remember, it's a concealed carry. It's not a primary weapon. Right. It's a concealed carry, last ditch kind of weapon. Secondary.
Right. And if you have a really good one, you're probably going to be okay with it. Mm-hmm. I've just heard that, especially some of the, sorry, Kimber, but especially some of the small Kimbers, 1911s can be really problematic, just from my experience. Mm-hmm. Even the Colts, even some of the Colts, I think it's the officer's model, I believe is what it's called. The
Commander.
Well, the Commander it's the same as the full size. It just has a shorter slide and barrel. Okay. The officer's model actually has a shorter grip,
Okay.
And it's like the one that the guy that we knew that carried.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Where it doesn't hold as many in the magazine. It takes a different magazine.
Okay.
Yeah, that I'm 99% sure that's the officer's model. When you get down to that size, you from what I've heard, you start to have some problems.
Okay.
You can at least. I'm sure there's people out there that make one that doesn't. Like, I mean, like if I had a Wilson Combat 1911 that was small like that, I would trust it.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, you better be able to for $3,500.
One day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one thing that's great about Wilson though is they they have they're like great guns, of course, but they're so expensive and not really that reasonable for hardly anybody to buy. Yeah. But they make so many great parts.
Yeah, I think that's where they make the real money. It's not in the weapons, it's in the parts, the magazines, the extractors, the sights. Yeah, that's what make the real money. I'll have to think that.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people. To get a 1911, it's like, something breaks, replace it with a Wilson Combat, or if it's a part that you're worried about, if it's an important part, when you got the money, just go ahead and buy a Wilson and throw it in there.
My God. Okay, depending on what you're using it for, because I think we talked about this before. Some guns can cost so much you're afraid to use them. Yeah. If they get a little scratch, you're like, oh my God. Oh my God. Good work gun, dare I say it, Rock Island. Yeah.
They are. They really are.
Great work gun. There are a lot of affordable weapons out there. Depending on what you're using it for, there are good affordable guns out there that will do the job.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. One thing on that always just cracked me up is now I get not wanting to carry a really nice gun too much because you get it scratched, damaged. You might have to leave in your car because you go into a federal building, get stolen. There's lots of reasons like that for not carrying a gun. But there are people out there that will not carry an expensive gun because they're afraid of getting into a shooting and then like losing the gun.
For at least 30 days, yeah.
It's like, you have got to be kidding me. That is a horrible reason to not carry an expensive gun.
That's why you bought the expensive gun.
Exactly. I mean, most people, almost nobody is going to be involved in a shooting. It's like a fire extinguisher. You know what I mean? You carry a gun because of that.
Good analogy.
Yeah, exactly. You carry a gun because of that ever so slight possibility
that you might be involved in an altercation using deadly force, right? Which is rare. Yeah. That I know because of TV and movies. Yeah. Oh, you think that stuff happens all the time? No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Well, I think depending on who you are and what you do and what kind of person you are, but they are still very rare. Yeah. In America, I think there is more. There's more fear than actual danger. Yeah. There's a book out there. I'll plug it called The Gift of Fear. America's one of the safer places in the world, but we don't necessarily feel that way, right? Because we see TV. What's on TV? Oh, somebody else got shot. Somebody else got murdered. Somebody else got raped. So you gotta be careful. Yeah, perspective, people.
Exactly. That's one of the disadvantages of the we live in the 24-hour news world now. Yeah, and I think I mentioned it. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in another show. But there's this like Bill Hicks joke where he talks about. I don't know. I've said this before, but anyways, so I'm not going to do it again. But he's basically, in a nutshell, he was like, it was a joke about how you watch the news for like 8 hours or whatever, and then you look out your window and it's like beautiful sunrise and like everything is great. When you have all this just death and destruction and famine and shortage and just everything. Everything is bad on the news because, at a very minimum, there's lots of theories you can have about why the news says things that it does, but at the very least, the news wants you to watch it.
Sex, violence, and the weather.
Exactly, exactly. And if you think about it, if you turn on the news and they're just like, oh yeah, this everything's good, no problems, you're like, okay, everything's good, I don't need to keep track of it.
What am I watching this stuff for?
Yeah, but if you turn on the news and it's like, oh, this is impending war in Russia or North Korea, you're like, oh, I gotta keep up with the news. Exactly. I gotta know what's going on.
Speaking of that, back to responsible carry. You heard about Idaho, right?
I don't think so.
That female out in Idaho, she was a concealed carry permit holder. She had several kids with her at a Walmart or something like that, some store. It was a Walmart.
But did she like defend herself, shot somebody? Did she?
No.
That's a different one.
She had her weapon in her purse
Yeah.
And her 2-year-old was in the basket. And she put her purse with the weapon in the 2-year-old. She gave it to the 2-year-old to hold.
Yeah.
2-year-old went inside her purse, pulled the weapon, and fired on her and killed her.
Oh, man.
I mean, again, number one, if you're going to carry a weapon, that weapon needs to be on you.
Exactly.
Physically on you. Not in your bag, not out in the car. Physically on you.
Yep.
And two, that weapon is always in the back of your mind. I have a weapon on me.
Yep.
I'm not bashing the dead, but you have got to be careful at all times. This is an example.
She gave up control of it.
Exactly.
To a 2-year-old.
This is a tragedy. I'm sorry this happened. But at the same time, it should reiterate to all of us, responsible gun ownership. If you're going to carry that weapon, it is physically on you at all times. Absolutely never forget that.
Yeah. You can't ever lose in a situation where the gun is not like just stored in your house. If you're out somewhere with a gun, you have to have the control of it. And that might be having it locked up.
Yes.
But you have to have you have to have control of it. Gun control, very important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not in your bag, especially when you got a small children around.
Right. So, yeah, exactly. So and that's, I guarantee you, moms demand action, the anti-gun group, they probably put that on their Facebook, probably. Like, oh, see the danger. First of all, she already broke a law by just being negligent,
Yeah. Again, this is not to bash the victim, but at the same time, we got to point out, we got to be reasonable and understand that it was irresponsible, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not a gun problem, it's a people problem.
Yeah. And of course, what's funny is that's a situation where they say, oh, see, we shouldn't have let people carry handguns. You know what? Maybe we shouldn't let people have cars because they leave their kids in the car and they die.
Or if they have an accident that kills someone, okay, there can be no more driving.
Yeah.
Exactly. You got to be reasonable, perspective.
Yeah. The other thing that's crazy is like when you look at the stats of because they always try to make you really, the anti-gunners, they prey on the ignorant and make them fearful of if you have a gun around, it's just gonna wind up in the hands of a kid and they're gonna kill themselves or something like that. I heard this stat a while ago. I need to be up more on the stats, but this stuff anybody can look it up. But I remember reading at some point there was a stat that more kids drown in swimming pools than are ever injured by firearms
or abused or killed in a car accident.
Yeah, there's 1,000 more ways to get killed than guns.
Exactly.
And most gun violence,
smoking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, smoking.
Outlaw cigarettes. Oh, hey.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, it's really frustrating that the anti-gunners just don't want you to to realize is that most gun violence is gang related. It's organized. It's based on organized crime.
Exactly. People, felons who should not have weapons in the first place. People having illegal weapons, using them to commit crimes.
Yeah, and those stats are never collected accurately because Joe Blow gets shot in a drive-by shooting, right? He's like, oh, I'm shot. The cops show up. What's he gonna say? Oh yeah, that was Jim Bob down the road. He shot me because I screwed him on a drug deal. I was supposed to bring her back $200 and I didn't, or something.
Exactly.
They're not gonna say that. They're gonna say, "Oh, I was just minding my own business, walking down the street.
Some guy rolled up, put 2 rounds in me."
Yeah, I don't know him. Never seen that car before.
Of course. Again, I've heard this said before, and I completely agree with it. The only people that are gonna obey gun laws are law-abiding citizens.
Yeah.
Your felons are not.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly. And I'm not one of them, but I think if out there, even law-abiding citizens will be turned into criminals if they make the laws too strict.
Which there's been a pushback a while back. I can't say exactly when the federal government talked about certain people. Let me make sure I get it right.
Yeah.
Certain people in the federal government talked about limiting gun ownership or certain types of weapons. The states. Numerous states said, well, if the federal government passes anything like that, we will not enforce it.
Yeah.
I know there's certain state that should remain nameless.
Yeah, it's really big.
Not that one. I know you're thinking not that one. It's a state that you will have thought, it's not Texas. Thought that said that any law to restrict the Second Amendment, if the federal government passes it, then let them enforce it because this state blatantly said they will not enforce it.
Yeah.
So I
remember there was one state or a few of them saying that they were going to arrest federal agents that tried to, I remember at the time I was still working security. I remember thinking from dealing with law enforcement, that's kind of funny to think really a federal agent is going to let some local cop arrest him.
Yeah, some county deputy. Okay, dude, get back up.
Yeah,
back up.
Yeah, that's not going to go very well. But I like the idea of it in the sense of them kind of saying to the federal government, hey, no, we're not going to take this.
Well, I have to say this, since there was this pushback from the states at the state level, grassroots level, I guess, we haven't heard too much talk about any kind of limitations on gun ownership or anything like that in a long time.
Right.
Because that people want weapons
Yep.
for legal use. Let me make sure that's clear.
Yep.
People want weapons for legal use, and they have a right to defend themselves.
Right.
That was and when I was in school, we heard this court case where this guy tried to sue the police force for not getting to his house to protect him from being robbed. And it went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court found that it is not the police force's job to protect each individual in the community. It's the police force's job to protect the community as a whole. You have the responsibility of being able to protect yourself.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty clear.
Well, what case was that?
You know what? Next time I come here, I'll have that reference.
All right, if you can, I'll try to find it too. But if you run across it, I'd like to find that because that's a pretty awesome. I remember you said something about that before.
Yeah, it is excellent. It is excellent. That's the because a lot of people feel like in certain. I'll say like security, for instance. For instance.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, well, we don't need this, we don't need that because we'll just call police.
Yeah.
The cops will get there when they can. Thank you.
Yeah.
You may call them, but they'll get to, depending on their manpower, depending on what else is going on, they'll get to you as soon as they can. Why? Because it's their job to protect the community as a whole.
Yep.
Not you individually.
Right.
You have the responsibility, the legal responsibility, to be able to protect yourself.
Yep.
So great point, and I'll have that for you next time we do this.
Because that's just awesome. I mean, everybody should have that in their repertoire of pro-gun arguments.
That takes the wind out of a lot of anti-gun people, anti-defense people's sails right there.
Yeah.
Because it is your responsibility. Yeah, and you know what? And people, even these anti-police people who protested these certain incidences in certain places, I put up this question. If you were assaulted or robbed or accosted, who would you call? Yeah. You're out there protesting the police, but the minute something happens to you, who are you going to call? Yeah. It ain't Ghostbusters, dude. You're going to call the police.
And I'll tell you what, and I will say this, pun intended, whenever these kinds of things happen, like we're not going to get into this because it's just too controversial.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say one thing about it. It's never black and white. And I mean that pun intended. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? People, they feel like they have to, people like they can't get away from, it's got to be this. It has to be that. No, it's this. I'm telling you, it has to be this. Okay. It can, like people, they are incapable of seeing things as being in the middle,
And we have to support law enforcement, police, security, whatever. Because there are a lot of bad people out there. Yeah. Example, that nutcase up in Pennsylvania that wasted those two Pennsylvania state troopers. Some kind of bootleg survivalist and all that.
Because they always want to paint that picture of people like that. But.
And he was some guy. He liked playing these what's that, airsoft. Games, and he portrayed himself as a Eastern European Serbian soldier and all that. Yeah. Came out and took out two Pennsylvania state troopers. Yeah. They hunted him down for there was a manhunt for about 2-3 weeks, and they finally captured him. And when they took him into custody, with the handcuffs of one of the officers that he killed. Oh man! Excellent. Yeah. So we have to protect ourselves against people and things like that, and just be aware of it.
Yep, exactly. And and not to get into that whole thing in the town that will remain nameless, but like
somewhere out there in this mythical place.
Yeah, exactly.
On either the east or west side of Mississippi. I'm not sure.
Yeah. But it really is bad because it's creating such a divide because there's some people who think, all cops are bad now because of this. All people who live in low-income areas automatically are just always causing problems, and so it's like, I don't know, it's really bad for our country that these kinds of things, not that they have happened. I mean, it is bad, like it's never good when anybody gets killed, whatever the reason is. No, but the perspective is like these kinds of things happen all the time.
Example: those 2 cops that got bushwhacked up in New York City.
Oh yeah.
By that ex-felon. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly.
That he had absconded from parole in Georgia, went to Maryland, shot his old lady, didn't kill her, and then put on his Facebook that he was going to go shoot 2 law enforcement officers.
Yeah.
And just walked up and ambushed them.
Yeah.
Hey, man, people like that, we have to be able, again, we have to be in a position to take appropriate steps, because people like that are not only a danger to law enforcement. If they'll shoot police, they'll shoot you.
Oh, man, yeah.
I mean,
they'll shoot anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, what are you thinking, dude?
Yeah.
Oh, he's only shoots cops. No, he'll shoot you or anybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
So you gotta be in position to take appropriate action.
Right.
Is that politically correct enough? I'm not sure.
No, yeah, you're
okay,
good. You're good. Yeah, but it's just really frustrating, the divide that this issue has created, because, like I said, screw it. I'm going to talk about it a little bit. I'm not going to get, but I will not get into the specifics of the different cases.
Thank you very much.
But fundamentally, because that part, in some ways, it's not irrelevant, but that's not the big issue.
No.
Because things like this happen. That's the thing. Like, I wish some people don't seem to realize that it's the media that's creating this problem, because these kinds of things happen all the time. It sounds cynical to say it, but I mean, I remember when I worked at a certain place.
That's your main name.
Yeah, it was actually not a place that I worked with you. It was a place after that.
Okay.
I remember I became aware of a certain thing that happened that I wasn't involved in, where a Metro officer shot a white Metro officer shot a black 17-year-old who was unarmed, because he told him to show him his hands, and he reached under the seat, shot him in the head. I think he actually did live, but he's probably messed up.
Not a good day for the home
team. Yeah. Shot him in the head, right? Never saw anything about it, not even on the local news.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, it happens. The other way around. Sometimes a black officer shoots a white person. Yeah. Like, hey, there's different races in our culture.
What?
Sometimes when things happen, there's random mixes of how they interact with each other. Crazy, But whenever it happens in a way that has a history, then people automatically, they jump to conclusions. Oh, it's this way or it's that way, and it's just it becomes a nightmare.
There are a lot of fear mongers, hate mongers out there. I think that the one question I always ask, which gets me a lot of flack, is that what was the police doing there in the first place?
Yeah.
If an incident occurred, okay, no matter what it was, why were the police there in the first place?
Yeah.
What did the guy do to like the individual that he was at gunpoint, reached under a seat? Not smart, dude.
Yeah.
Not smart at all.
Yeah. Why are you doing that?
Hey, show your hands. Hey, dude, have a nice day.
Yeah.
And some of the most now I love the people that are whoever they are,
who
are very vocal about the anti-law enforcement aspect of this. I'm like, okay, if you get stopped and police ask you to do something, what do? Well, I'll show my ID and I'll be gone 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
So they didn't do that. So, example, this guy in Utah that just got blasted by the Utah police. He had a samurai sword. He was outside. I swear, this guy had a samurai sword in Utah.
Yeah.
He was out there swinging it around, waving it around.
Watching too much Walking Dead.
He's out there waving his sword around, right? And somebody called the police, which they should have.
Yeah.
This guy's out here in the middle of the street waving a sword around.
Yeah.
And they call the police, cops roll up to him, and the guy makes a break for it. And he did something, and officer fired on him and put a round through him and killed him. And now the family's going to sue the police force, of course, because they feel like their loved one was treated improperly.
Yeah.
I don't know all the details. So
because here's the thing, because it goes both ways. There's some people who are saying, the very pro law enforcement people are saying that, how dare you ever question anything a cop does? Yeah. It's called the Constitution in a free country.
That's right.
Of course you question cops. You're supposed to. Mm-hmm. Cops should be questioned.
There are good and bad police out there, just like good and bad people.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I say, like, these issues, they're never black and white.
No.
And the thing that's frustrating is, like, how, like a situation like that, maybe the police did, maybe they behaved badly or something like that. Maybe they didn't. You never really know unless you were actually there, which is why we have to trust, our judicial system
Exactly.
Because why we have it.
And people have a problem with that. It's too slow, not transparent enough. People have a problem with that. And also, there's an inherent societal mistrust of the system for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it doesn't always work either.
True. I got to say this, too. One thing that these people who are maybe not as supportive of law enforcement as they should be is that I haven't heard this. They're talking about, making cops be more compassionate, take classes on being more compassionate with body cameras and all that. One thing I have not heard is that nobody's talked about obey the law.
Yeah.
Don't break the law.
Yeah.
These two incidences that should remain nameless that we're speaking of, they both involved individuals that were breaking the law.
Yeah.
I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, still, even if they are, I mean, there's a point where a police officer can take it too far.
True.
Which I think that maybe I don't even want to get into it.
No, I'm backing off.
It's like
I'm backing off.
But that's the thing. There's situations where cops they take it too far.
True.
But yeah, the thing about cops taking classes to be more that just compassionate. That seems silly to me.
Knee jerk reaction.
It just seems silly.
Yeah.
Body cameras, great idea.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah.
That's not just about protecting the public. That's also about protecting the police officers.
It's true. Goes both ways. Yeah, protect both sides. Yeah. And in fact, I think some of the studies have shown that Taser, who makes this is a plug for them. They make a body camera, and they have found that incidences have went down when there's a presence of a body camera.
Yeah.
As soon as both sides see that red light come on, all of a sudden everybody's on their best behavior.
Yeah.
So yes, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, definitely. That to me, that's not a knee jerk reaction. That is a correct action.
Yes.
We had those when we worked security, and that was like 3 years ago or something.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have been using those a long time ago. I'm sure some did. But
what scares a lot of people about that is that it can show you doing the right thing or show you doing the wrong thing.
Well, yeah.
So that scares a lot of people about that.
Yeah.
Because any kind of film footage from your body camera can be subpoenaed by a court.
Yeah.
So what a lot of people do is like, well, I'll just take the chance that that it's going to work out and not have the body camera. It's just safer to have it.
Yeah, I think it's better to have it.
It's safer to have it.
Yeah. And and if you're really worried about someone taking the camera out, the footage out of context or not showing the whole thing or something like that, like what I would probably do if I was a police officer, I would have my own personal one also.
Yes.
I would wear two.
Exactly.
And I would have the one that I would ever turned into the department every night, and another one that I saved myself. So
that way, there's no question about what was said.
If I ever show up in court or something like that over something, I'm like, wait a minute. They didn't show that out of context. They showed that out of context.
Exactly. Exactly.
Or like you must have hired James Cameron to do some CGI on that.
What's the Ewok doing there?
Yeah. Exactly.
But
they try to pull some stuff like that movie Tango and Cash.
But the one thing that people need to remember about the court too, the court always takes into account what was the officer's state of mind during the incident. So everybody, as we know, people always love to whip out their cell phone cameras and all that. That's fine. That's great. Yes, your choice. But remember, the court will take into account is what was the officer's state of mind during the incident.
Right.
Hey, did you threaten him? Did he feel threatened? Was he justified in feeling threatened?
Right, because it does matter.
It does matter. Exactly.
It does
So
matter. It's not always strictly about. It's not just about what happened. It's how it happened at the same time. In the context of the situation also.
Exactly.
And there's certain things that could be taken out of context where, like totally different examples. Let's say you got a situation where there's like 4 or 5 cops dealing with some guy and he's becoming aggressive.
Yep.
And it's just them and then that guy and then there's really no one else around. There's that situation, and then there's the opposite where you have one cop dealing with a guy who's being very aggressive, and then there's a bunch of other people around who are like kind of on his side. Which we've been in those situations.
Oh yeah,
I know I have. And
yes,
that's scary.
That never happens.
It's really scary because you get kind of tunnel vision, and then all of a sudden you kind of like take a minute to look around, and you're like, "Whoa, we're surrounded by his buddies." Let
me tell you something. The way that let me commend a police force, LAPD. They hardly ever shoot anybody.
Yeah.
Now they'll spray, baton, tase the hell out of you, but they hardly ever shoot anybody.
Yeah.
They have proven that non-lethal is the way to go.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. There are too many people out there that go for the weapon first, which is a big mistake.
Right.
Non-lethal is the way to go, and you can avoid a lot of incidents because I think some people understand that for some reason. If there was a problem, you and him had an altercation, you sprayed him. Okay.
You tried to stop the situation without
with the minimum force necessary.
Right.
People understand that. They may not still like you. They still may think you're a piece of whatever. But you sprayed them, you hooked them up. Okay, we understand.
Right.
It's when you use deadly force.
Right.
People question because I think in these incidences, one question that the jury had was, why didn't you use non-lethal force? Spray, taser, baton. And which is a valid question.
Right.
And apparently they justified it, but that's always the first thing in my mind. Where's the spray? Where's the baton? Where's the taser?
Right.
That will get people, and that's what the bad guys are really afraid of because they know that's more likely to be used
right.
than a weapon.
Yeah, and also just because the guy's unarmed doesn't necessarily mean that deadly force wasn't justified.
That's right. Exactly.
And then also, just because the guy is a lot bigger than you and scarier than you, it doesn't always mean that it is justified.
No, that's right. Exactly.
That's the thing. It can go either way. It just totally depends on either the context of the situation.
And as we both know, that size don't really mean anything out there.
No, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. Yeah, it depends.
All my incidences out there, it's never been an issue.
Right.
Because if you got the equipment in the background, go ahead, dude. Let's roll.
Yeah.
And that's why officer training is very expensive. Officer training is very, very important.
Right.
Because you can handle any situation that comes up out there. It's again based on training and background.
Right.
So again, I'm all about deadly force when it's necessary.
Exactly.
If your life is threatened or somebody else's is threatened, by all means, don't hesitate.
Exactly.
But that's the first thing that needs to roll through your mind, though. Like with the guy with the samurai sword in Utah. Hey, he's a sword.
Yeah.
Was he coming at you? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if he's running at you, man, it'll get you.
Dude,
one of those things. But
dude.
If he's running away, though, or
yeah, that's what, from my understanding, he was running away. He caught one in the back. That's a problem.
Honestly, to shoot someone in the back when they're running away, I think you have to witness them do something
Commit
that
a
shows,
felony, yes.
or that shows like, there is a law based on, but as far as just the moral, aspect, like you really need to witness them like do something that shows
like a body there,
a very clear intent,
covered in blood. He's running away. Okay,
right. Or they've like tried to kill someone,
or tried to kill after you. I've seen a couple of videos where officers doing traffic stops were assaulted by one or two guys in the vehicle, and the officer just pulled out and started blasting.
Oh man,
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So again, remember, we talked about this before. Remember, before you use that weapon, think: does he have a weapon, and is the threat to me or anybody else? That's the first thing you got to think about.
Yep.
And that's just training.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Training is everything in the situation. Like law enforcement training, really the most important training is not as much like the tactical stuff. Because if that were true, then some special forces guy could come out of the army and be like the best cop ever. And that's not the case at all.
It's not. It's about de-escalation.
Sometimes those people like that don't make good cops at all.
Exactly. Because out here in the civilian world, it's more about de-escalating.
Right.
Keeping your head, let them jump up and down, scream and holler. Okay, that's fine. Which you shouldn't have to get mad because I'm in charge. You're gonna do what I say.
Right.
I don't have to yell and scream.
Right.
I'm in charge, and then you let them. You de-escalate, and then you explain, and you let them know. You explain again if you need to explain a third time, and if they don't, then you take appropriate action.
Right.
And I'm telling you, that will carry you a long way.
And energy is contagious. That's the thing.
That's right.
It really is.
If you try to meet him, force for force, just like Stallone did. No. And I think that's a big problem out there. Too many young guys going out in law enforcement have watched too many cop movies.
Right.
Dude, do not fall into that trap.
They don't realize most of it's boring and paperwork.
That's right. And speaking of that movie, something that emphasizes that. What's that movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and that Joe Pena? About two LA cops.
I know what you're talking about.
What's in that movie? Call in, people, quick. What's that?
Yeah, we take a caller.
Save that movie. Oh man,
I can think of. I can see. Yeah, I can see like the cover of the movie and what it looks like.
It starts out with a car chase. It starts out. Well, Jake Gyllenhaal is narrating a car chase, and and they shoot these 2 gangsters down. And what they talk about right after that? Paperwork.
Yep.
You know, hey, and dude, a perfect example of it's about de-escalate. They didn't get a chance to de-escalate,
right.
But the whole movie was about you didn't go in there trying to strong arm people, and it's foolish to do that,
right?
Because, like you said, energy is contagious. You
right.
go in there trying to meet them toe to toe, and dude, that's bad. That's bad business. You're not gonna last long out there.
And plus, when it comes to law enforcement, especially dealing with some real serious,
the real
organized
people,
crime type,
the real gangsters.
If you make them feel like, they don't really have a lot of options, then they're going to act accordingly.
Yes, and let me tell you something. The real gangsters will never cause you a problem unless you disrespect them.
Right.
Then there's going to be a problem.
Right.
So, too many guys that don't last don't think like that.
Yeah.
You got to remember, hey, respect. You won't have a problem more than likely,
right?
Because it's the posers you got to worry about.
Oh yeah, because they're trying to get the respect that those other guys have.
So in this place that should remain nameless, with this individual who should remain nameless, years ago.
It didn't have a nickname that was based off of a cartoon character, do you?
Maybe. But we were in this certain area of this certain town, and this individual, these young individuals were taunting this officer, right? And this individual who's supposed to be in charge showed a high level of immaturity.
Yeah. He
jumped out. Yeah, you want to fight? You want to fight? Come on, let's go. I went, hey, it's just me and you down here in the hood. What are you doing? And then he goes, come on, let's fight, let's go. And he starts walking toward them. And they start backing off. And now they're backing off. They're walking away. But he's still like, come on, let's fight. I'm like, hey, I'm looking around like, hey, dude, they're backing away. He takes out his weapon, puts it on the ground, says, okay, I'm unarmed now. Let's go. Oh, man. My God. So I walk up, pick up his weapon out of the street. Hey, dude, we better get back in the vehicle. Dude, what are you doing?
Wow.
Finally, he stopped. I gave him his weapon back, and then we got in the vehicle, drove out. Holy whatever. Yeah. Dude, oh, my God.
Oh, man. And I'll tell you what, based on that story, I will, and I remember you telling me that before. that was not what I was there for, but... based on things like that, and there's lots of stories that we could probably sit and tell you that are similar to that. If people want to get into working security, sometimes the most dangerous part of it is the other people you work
with. Exactly. Well, it's not the criminals. You got to worry about them.
Exactly.
It's the people you're working with.
Right. And you really, when you work security in a job like that, where there's there's stuff that goes on, you really understand why it's difficult to become a police officer.
Yes, and
you don't want to just let anybody in there.
That's right, and they shouldn't.
Right,
and they shouldn't.
They should not.
Let me say this: the experience that me and this man had was unique. It was a unique time and place, and let me tell you. The experience we had were
maybe not unique enough, actually.
That's right. The experience, I'll say this: the amount of time, the time period that we were out there, it was as tough, or could be. At times it was as tough as any municipal police agency.
Yeah, definitely.
We're doing the exact same thing and more that the sworn officers were doing. And only because of the people, the quality of people, well, some of them anyway, that we had out there, it's the fact that any of us are still here to talk. Again, it's all about respect and consistency and doing the right thing the right way. Gaining respect out there, you'll be fine.
Right.
That's one of the biggest things I got from that experience. Gaining respect for the people in the community is one of the most important things you can do out there.
Right.
And if they see that you're out there, not to mess with people, but to do the right thing, they understand that. They still may hate your guts, but they understand that you're there to do your job and not mess with them.
Right.
So, and then that fact, over time, they'll come to you and they'll kind of sort of do the right thing.
Right.
They'll not, I won't say help or but appreciate that you're there.
Right.
So
exactly.
I will say that.
And one thing that was interesting is the people that you would think of as being gangsters, like from the movies and like those kinds of people. they liked us being there.
The most, you're right. Some of the so-called gangsters were the most level-headed, down-there people you meet out there.
Right, because they have a lot of life experience. They've been in prison a bunch of times. Mm-hmm. Some of them have been shot probably. I guarantee you, some of the ones that we knew that were the more like higher level ones. I guarantee you they kill people. I know they have. Exactly. Probably lots of people.
That's okay. You cannot go out there thinking that you're just going to run roughshod over them, because that ain't going to happen.
No, you're not.
It's to work with these people through respect. You're not going to take anything.
Yeah.
You make it very. One thing that made that particular force very effective is that it was very plain. You picked a growing group of officers to mess with too.
Right.
They are not going to take your crap. And then once that was understood, that's when the coordination came in.
Right.
People start working. Believe it or not, groups that are completely on opposite ends of the scale started working together, which was very effective. Which I think a lot of these agencies could learn from that.
I remember there was times even when there was people that would roll through there that weren't from there, and you could tell that they knew the guys that we were talking about that were there, because you could tell. Sometimes when you just look at some people, you can just tell. You can tell if they're like punks or if they've they're experienced. They've been doing it. And they would automatically, even though they'd never seen us before, they would treat us with respect. That's right. Because it's like they talked to those other guys and they were like, yeah, okay, they got security here. They look serious, and they are, but just be cool that they won't have problems.
That's right.
I feel like that they told that to people.
We weren't looking to bother people, but if you did the wrong thing out in the open, you were done.
Right.
Hey.
And a lot of them really liked that because that was where their families lived.
True, that's right. And one thing the gangsters. One thing I realized, it was number one, I was straight out of school when I started doing that, and that was the best experience I could have had. Yeah. And one thing I'll say this is that the gangsters, I learned this, and the gangsters knew it, is that peace means profit.
Right.
That they don't want trouble, they don't want attention, they don't want the block hot, because that cuts into their profit.
Right.
So things going quiet and smooth and everybody getting along was good for their business, whatever that was.
Right.
Was good.
Yeah, exactly.
Was good for their business. And again, nobody condoned it. And if anybody ever caught them, they were done.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we didn't go looking to be okay, how can I say this? We didn't go look to be a jerk.
Right.
Good, clean, G-rated word.
Right.
We didn't go looking to be a jerk to people. You treat them with respect, and you get respect back.
Right.
So.
One thing that used to crack me up sometimes, there was times when they would almost do our job for us a few times.
Yeah.
Because there was this term that they would use, they'd say making the spot hot. You ever heard them say that?
Making the block hot.
Yeah. Or block. But I remember several times I hear him be like, man, you're making my spot hot over here.
That's right.
But not talking about us, talking about just some joker out there.
Yeah, they direct you to them. There were a couple of occasions, hey, that dude right there.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. In school, that's what's called community policing.
Right.
You get the people behind you, and you work together with the community to make the community a safer place.
Right. Exactly. And
excellent.
Honestly, I almost see a world being safer and better if there was almost more security, and maybe less actual real cops. As
long as there's quality, trained security. Right. Yeah, you can't be just Joe Bob out there running around with a gun.
No. But the thing that security can do that law enforcement can't, because cops, even when there's a lot of them in the area, they're stretched so thin.
Yeah.
They don't ever get to know the neighborhood or understand it.
One thing also, security has on the property has a lot less limitations than law enforcement. In fact, this one sworn officer for this municipal agency, he told me that he says, I have to follow rules. You don't.
Right.
Because there's no, depending on now, you have to be reasonable. Let me make sure
we didn't have to follow the rules of that being private property.
Yeah, being private property. Yeah,
because it was kind of like we were kind of like temporary property owners the
owners of the property are giving you the authority to enforce the law on that property.
Right.
You don't need probable cause or reasonable suspicion. I think you're doing something. Why don't you let me pat you down? And if they don't like it, they can leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you don't have to stay here. We don't have to. Yeah, you got the option to leave. And if you don't, when I ask you to, well, that's going to lead to another problem.
Right.
So again, it's just a lot more leeway. You don't have to put up with as much. For a cop to stop you, he better be able to justify it.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, been about an hour and a half, so I guess
Time flew.
Yeah, I know.
We covered half the stuff we intended to.
Yeah, I know. Some of the stuff I don't know if we got to. But sometimes it's cool. Sometimes it's cool to get off topic.
Yeah.
The most, and usually the reason I write this down is just so we'll have stuff to talk
General
about.
guideline. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we come up with something that, like, there's a bunch of stuff we talked about that didn't even plan on getting into, which was awesome. So.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So, yeah. Anyways, enjoy the show, and we'll do it again sometime. Check the link for the downloadable version of the podcast on Libsyn. And we appreciate our sponsors, Bud's Gun Shop, Federal Ammo. We got lots of hungry guns. And so we'll talk to you guys later.